Hi there, my name's Adrian, and today we're looking at how to play the guitar riff from Get Lucky by Daft Punk. Now this is a fantastically funky song with a guitar part played by the great Nile Rodgers, and it really is a masterclass in how to play groovy, minimal funk rhythm guitar. Now I've seen a few other lessons on YouTube teaching this song, and I don't think any of them get it quite right, so I'm going to have a go myself. I'm not guaranteeing this is 100% correct, but I think it's pretty close, so see what you think. So the first thing I want to point out is that the guitar riff from this song is actually made up of two separate guitar parts layered one on top of the other. There's the most prominent part, which is kind of playing 2 or 3 note chords, this part. And at the same time, we've got a single note part, which is like this. And they're both layered one on top of the other. The single note part is quite low in the mix, but it's still there. It definitely adds an extra layer of funkiness to the sound. In fact, if you listen at the very start of the song, you can hear the single note part in isolation, and then straight away it's joined by the other rhythm guitar, and then you can hear them both playing at the same time. So I'm going to take you through how to play both of these guitar parts. If you're just playing one of them, then I think the chord part is definitely the most prominent one, but I think it'd be interesting to have a go at the single note part as well. So let's get started. Before we get into the specifics of these two parts, I just want to outline the basic harmony of the tune. We're in the key of B minor here, and the first chord we're hearing is a B minor chord. I'm just playing a bar chord B minor. I'm barring at the 7th fret there, and then I've got my 3rd finger at the 9th fret on the A string, my little finger at the 9th fret on the D string. B minor is the first chord that we hear. Then the harmony changes to a D chord. I'm just playing an A type of D bar chord here. So I've got my 1st finger at the 5th fret on the 5th string. Then I'm barring at the 7th fret on the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings. So a D chord there. Then we're moving to an F sharp minor chord. I'm playing an A string root here. That's the 9th fret on the A string with my 1st finger. Then I'm playing the 11th fret on the 3rd and the 4th strings, and then I'm playing the 10th fret on the 2nd string, 9th fret on the 1st string. So an F sharp minor chord, and then lastly we have an E chord. I'm just playing an E bar chord that's like the D chord we just played, but 2 frets higher. So that's the basic harmony. I suppose if you wanted to do an easy strummy version of this song, you could just use those chords. Something like that. That would be a perfectly good kind of sing-along easy version of the song to play. But in this lesson I want to look at the specific guitar parts that Nile Rodgers is playing, and he's not in fact playing these big 5 or 6 string chords. He's just playing 2 or 3 notes from each of these chords, and that actually has a far funkier effect. It's a lot more minimal, and it fits in with the other instruments in the mix very well. So let me take you through exactly the chord shapes that Nile Rodgers is using, and then I'm going to talk about the right hand part and the rhythm. The first chord is the B minor, and we're just using this 3-note B minor shape. It's found within that bigger bar chord voicing. I'm playing the 9th fret on the 4th string, and then the 7th fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings, just barring those 2 notes with my 1st finger. So So I want those 3 notes. Now it's important to keep the other 3 strings muted, because then you're going to be able to hit all of the strings when you're strumming with your right hand and you don't get any unwanted notes. So muting is really important when you're playing in the funk guitar style. So I'm just going to be using my thumb wrapped around the top of the neck to mute the low E and the A string, and I'm also just lifting up my first finger a little bit so that the high E string is muted as well. So that's our first shape, B minor. Then we've got our D chord, and again we're just playing 3 notes from this D chord voicing. I'm playing the 7th fret on the 4th string, the 3rd string and the 2nd string. That's a D triad. Just want those 3 notes. You can either play this with your first finger or you can play it with your 3rd finger. Doesn't really make much difference, which again, important to keep the other strings muted. So I've got my thumb wrapped around the top to mute the lower strings, and I'm just lifting my 3rd finger up slightly from the bar to mute the high E string as well. So then I can hit all of the strings and I'm only hearing the 3 notes that I want to ring. So that's our D shape. Then we go to the F sharp minor, and again I'm just going to play 3 notes from this chord. I'm playing the 11th fret on the 4th string with my 3rd finger, 11th fret on the 3rd string with my little finger, and 10th fret on the 2nd string with my 2nd finger. So I'm just playing those 3 notes. Again, I'm using my thumb to mute the lower strings and just letting my 1st and 2nd fingers rest on the 1st string to mute that as well. And then we need one more chord, which is our E chord, and that is the same as our D chord. It's just a 3-note triad. That's the 9th fret on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings. Again, you can play that with your 1st finger or play that with your 3rd finger, but make sure you're keeping those unwanted strings muted. So those are our 4 chord shapes. Now I'm going to come on to the right hand and talk about how we're going to approach this rhythmically. Now, like a lot of funk stuff, this is a 16th note groove, meaning that each beat is divided up into 4 subdivisions, and we've got this kind of feel: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the conventional way to count that is to say 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So it's a good idea when you're playing this part and when you're playing a lot of funk stuff just to keep your right hand moving at all times, feeling that 16th note rhythm, and then we just use our left hand to squeeze down the chord when we want it to sound. For the other beats we're just going to have some rhythmic scratches. So let me take you through the exact rhythm pattern that Nile Rodgers is using. So on the B minor chord we're going to go scratch, scratch and then squeeze down the chord, and we're going to do that 5 times. So scratch, scratch, squeeze the chord down 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the time just keeping your right hand moving up and down, feeling those 16th notes, trying to stay nice and relaxed in your right arm and wrist. So one more time, it's, and if you're doing that right, the chord accents are going to fall on a down strum, an up strum, a down strum, an up strum and another down strum. So down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So that's the strumming pattern for the B minor chord, and that stays the same for the next 2 chords. So on the D chord, same thing. Same thing on the F sharp minor chord. Then we come to the E chord, and there's a little bit of a variation on the rhythm. We're going to be doing 2 scratches and a chord, another 2 scratches and a chord, scratch and another chord, 2 more scratches, then 2 chords, 2 more scratches and a chord. So So just very slowly one more time. It's scratch, scratch, chord, scratch, scratch, chord, scratch, chord, scratch, scratch, chord, chord, scratch, scratch, chord. And if you're doing that correctly, the chord accents should fall on a down, an up, down, up, and then another down strum. Down, up, down, up, down. So I'm just going to play through the whole 4-chord cycle slowly so you can hear how it all fits together. So starting with the B minor. Again. Remember to stay relaxed, keep your right hand feeling that 16th note groove. Make sure you're muting properly as well, because this kind of riff is only going to be effective if you're muting those open strings. You don't want it to be sounding messy and to have unwanted notes in there. With your right hand, you want to be focusing your pick on strings 2, 3 and 4. It's okay if you hit some of the other strings occasionally, but keep your strumming focused on those 3 strings. And that's it for the main rhythm guitar part. So let me take you through the other guitar part, which is the single note line, which on the recording, as I say, it's played simultaneously with the other guitar part. They're both multi-tracked and playing at the same time. Now for this guitar part, we've got a little 3-note riff which changes to fit each of the 4 chords in our chord progression. Over the B minor chord, we're playing this riff. So a 3-note riff. Our first note is the 9th fret on the A string, then we're playing the 9th fret on the D string twice, the 7th fret on the D string, and then we're back to the 9th fret on the A string. Now the important thing here is the rhythm. Now some lucky people might be able to just pick up the rhythm naturally by ear, but for the rest of us I'm just going to take you through the counting of this rhythm so you can get all of these syncopations exactly right. We're not going to play anything on the first beat. Our first note, the 9th fret on the A string, is coming in on beat 2. Then we're going to play our 9th fret on the D string on the of beat 2, so 2 E and We're going to play that note again on the and of 3, so 3 E and Then we're going to go to our 7th fret note. We're going to play that on beat 4, and then we're going back to our first note on the and of 4, the 4 E and So if I just play that very slowly, we've got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Again, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now, although this part isn't as obviously scratchy as the other guitar part, I still think it makes sense to keep your right hand moving up and down, feeling those 16th notes. That's really going to help with the groove. And I think it's okay to have a few little scratched notes in there, although they're not that prominent on the recording. So that would sound like this. 1. And if you're playing it that way, then the notes are going to fall on a down, an up, a down, another down, and another down. So 1, down, up, down, down, down. This is not the type of part that you need to play with maximum right hand scratchiness. You don't want to play it like this. Rather, it's a more subliminal, more in the pocket type of guitar part. So you want to keep your right hand a little bit more under control. There's still a bit of percussive clickiness in there, but it's really just to help the groove along. So it sounds a bit more like this. So that's the basic idea, which fits the B minor chord. Now it's just a question of taking the riff and changing it to fit the other three chords in our chord progression. So after B minor we've got the D chord, and our single note riff to fit that chord goes like this. So we've got another 3-note riff. We've got 7th fret on the 4th string, 7th fret on the 3rd string twice, 6th fret on the 3rd string, and then back to the 7th fret on the 4th string. I'm playing that with my 2nd and 1st fingers. The rhythm is exactly the same as for the B minor chord. Then we've got the F sharp minor, and the riff to fit that chord goes like this. Our notes are the 11th fret on the 4th string, 11th fret on the 3rd string twice, 9th fret on the 3rd string, and then back to the 11th fret on the 4th string, same rhythm. And finally we come to the E chord, and our riff is exactly the same as the F sharp minor, but 2 frets lower. So we've got the 9th fret on the 4th string, 9th fret on the 3rd string twice, 7th fret on the 3rd string, back to the 9th fret on the 4th string. So I'm just going to finish by playing the entire single note part round the progression very slowly so you can hear how it all fits together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe even more slowly. And there you have it. Well, that's it for this lesson. I hope you have some fun playing this tune. May the funk be with you, and I'll see you again for another lesson very soon. Bye bye.